The X Interview, hosted by Global X from the SCOL World Forum.
Hi, my name is David Bornstein. I'm a writer, and I write and I focus on social innovation. I try to tell stories about people who have solutions to problems, whose deep yearning in their life meets the world's deep needs. I've often thought about where my interest in sort of writing about social entrepreneurship comes from, and why, what are some of the seeds of it. And I have some of these scenes that flash through my mind. I have this image in my mind when I was a very young boy of my father saying things like, "You always have good ideas." Just those words coming out of his mouth, making me feel like what I had to say had value. My mother too. For some reason I have it clearer in my mind from my father. But when I remember, I think I was about 14 or 15, I was with my Aunt Suzan. She's been a great teacher to me. And it was a hot summer night in Montreal, and we wanted to go swimming. And so she said, "Let's just go to the swimming pool and climb the fence of the public pool." And she really gave me, gave me this notion that the world is a bit of a playground, and you can make it up as you go, and you don't necessarily always have to follow the rules. And then when I made the decision to go to Bangladesh and write about the Grameen Bank, I was just a young journalist. I remember interviewing Muhammad Yunus the first time I went to the Grameen Bank, and I was very nervous, and everybody in Bangladesh, in the Grameen Bank, you get this feeling that Yunus's office is a sort of a sacred place because he's so famous. And I remember walking in and with my notepad, and I had 100 questions. I was very nervous, and I told him, I said, "Professor Yunus, I'm just a young journalist. I've just finished school, but I really want to write something about the Grameen Bank. But I'm not that experienced." And he just looked at me, he said, "I bet you'll write the best article we've ever had about the Grameen Bank." And he said it in such a way that just totally put me at ease, and I almost felt like I walked out of his office with maybe a bigger sense of myself, or like I really can do it. Like his belief in me helped to build my belief. And I suspect that that's where a lot of social change comes from. It comes from people helping other people believe in themselves and give themselves more freedom to live in the world. And so I think about the people in my life who've helped me be a little bit more elastic in my sense of myself. When I look ahead to what may be or what will be in the next 10 years, I think back on my own experience with microcredit. I first started studying the Grameen Bank in the late 80s and went to Bangladesh for the first time in 1992. And my book, The Price of a Dream, came out in 1996. And I remember when I was traveling around the United States talking to audiences about microcredit, I mean, nobody had ever heard about it. This was an idea, 5 people out of 100, if that many, had heard about it. But I had a sense that this is going to grow. I mean, this is something that's important. And if I look back on what has happened over the past, I guess it's 15 years or 20 years, we've seen the emergence of this idea at the global level, and the fundamental changes in thinking around the world, with hundreds of millions of people, lives being affected by this idea. When I think about social entrepreneurship in general, which is really reorganizing the way of society, honoring people and supporting people who have motivation, who have the commitment and the desire to fix things, I think 10 years from now it will just be like microcredit. This will be an understanding. We won't have to argue about the value of social entrepreneurs. People won't be debating who's one, who isn't one. It will be as well understood a concept as entrepreneurship is in the business sector. And I think it will completely redefine the way we think about how problems should be solved. It will change the role of government. Many, many people around the world will be sitting at the dinner table at night talking to their parents about how they want to be a social entrepreneur in the particular subset of problem that they're most interested in. There'll be courses in it. High school students will study social entrepreneurs the way they now study humanitarians or saints or historical figures. And so there'll just be a whole framework of supports that will make this something that will just become part of the norm.
Global X is also on Social Edge at socialedge.org.